What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to be doing something I've done before. Last time I made a tier list. It was a tier list of all the kings of Westeros. Today, I'm just going to be doing a tier list of all the POV characters. Now, there are 24 characters, I believe. Some of them are like 1 to 2 chapters per books, and other of them have like massive amounts of chapters. But let's just immediately jump into it. We have Bran Stark. Now, I'm going to put him in B tier. And some people think, oh my goodness, why are you putting him so high? Other people are like, why are you putting him so low? He's got the best chapters. Oh, he's got the worst chapters. The reason why Bran is getting put in B tier and not like a S tier or D tier is because Bran's chapters are good, but they're also extremely boring. He spends a large portion of the story just walking places. He has interesting chapters, but he also has really dull chapters in my opinion, so that's why I'm putting him in B tier. The next character is Arya Greyjoy. She's gonna go C tier. She's good, like she's got good chapters, but also she has like 3. She is a symptom of the problem that everyone has, in which George kind of bloated Priest and Dance of Dragons with like all these new POV characters, and I don't think she added that much that other characters couldn't have handled, which also leads me to the next character, Quentyn Martell. You see, he is so forgettable that I forgot his freaking name. C tier once again, behind Asha. Listen, I liked his chapters. I liked them. But he's got like 2 of them, and half of them is just him describing the travel to Marine. They're okay. That's why they're in C tier. They are okay chapters. The majority of the chapters are good. I just don't think it's that good. Next up, we have Quentyn's older sister, Arya Martell. She's going straight to C tier, above Quentyn, because I liked her chapters. I liked her scheming with Marcella. I liked her plans to kind of get Dorne into the war. I liked her interactions with her father. That's when we got that cool scene where her father's like, "Ah, yes, no one fears the grass, but the grass is what conceals the viper." Ah, so there's all that. However, I just don't find her chapters terribly enjoyable. She's got good stuff in them, but she is a symptom of bloat. This next character is going to be the first one to reach A tier status. Now, I originally thought this was Cersei, but it's not. This is Pretty Boy himself, Jaime Lannister. He's got some great chapters. He has peak experiences. Jaime and Brienne in the Riverlands, absolute top tier stuff. Jaime in King's Landing when he's banging Cersei, not as good, still enjoyable if you're in that kind of mood. Him dealing with his like emotional turmoil, reflecting on the past of him killing the king and what he should do now, and the way that he's just been, and he's realizing that he's in this toxic relationship with his sister. Change in the Riverlands, trying to become a better person, was amazing to read. He's got some good chapters, solid. That is why they belong in A tier. Melisandre, the Red Priestess of Ashai, is next. The thing is, she has 2 chapters. She has 1 in Clash, I think, and 1 in Dance, and I cannot remember either of them that well. I remember her Dance of Dragons one, where she is like kind of talking to Jon Snow and thinking, but she's going to D tier. She's got some extremely forgettable chapters. They're not that important. They're not relevant. They don't need to be there. Maybe he's setting something up when it comes to Winds of Winter, but right now it's not that important. It's not that relevant. He could have cut both of those chapters out easily. Now, the same cannot be said for our boy Jon Connington. He also has like 2 chapters, but unlike Melisandre is Daenerys' cool translator, but Jon Connington has some great chapters. He's going to B tier. Yeah, he only has 2 of them, but they're cool. They're interesting. They're good. I like them. When he's talking about his Silver Prince and he's going to avenge he's going to avenge Rhaegar. He's going to seat his son upon the throne or die in the attempt. Excellent stuff. I liked seeing the war progress made in the Stormlands. I like seeing them take Griffin's Roost. I believe that's what it's called. I like seeing that. Yeah, Griffin's Roost. I like seeing him retake that castle. Barristan the Bold. Barristan Selmy, the GOAT himself, the greatest fighter in all of Westeros, only having 2 chapters is asinine, insane. But those 2 chapters were peak. He is also going to B tier, but he's going ahead of Jon Connington. He's got some good chapters. They were all gas. The only reason he's not in A tier is because he doesn't have that arc. He doesn't have that Jaime Lannister like multi-book progression. But what he does have is 2 really good chapters. The preview chapter for Winds of Winter, where he's rallying the troops, it is so good. I loved reading it. I thought it was amazing. I cannot wait to see what happens to him in Winds of Winter. There's so many theories. People think he's going to die, survive, all this. But I'm just hyped to see what his character is going to do. The same cannot be said for Victarion Greyjoy. He's got some okay chapters, but are they really that good? I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Victarion is a symptom of the George bloat that we experience in Dance of Dragons and Feast of Crows. His chapters were not all that necessary, and a lot of people find them uninteresting. I find some moments to be good, but a lot of them to be unnecessary. We didn't need it. It's not necessary. It is not something that had to have happened for the story to be important. Keep to the core characters, George. If you need to find a way to do something, just do it with one of your core characters, but don't introduce more and more characters that just don't have enough chapters. The chapters aren't that good. Now, of course, the same thing cannot be said for our GOAT, Brienne of Tarth. Brienne is not like Victarion, even though they're very similar. They get introduced in the latter half of the series. The difference is Brienne's chapters are absolutely goated. She is a good character. She has great chapters. I enjoyed reading all of them. Her last chapter where she's out in the rain with Oathkeeper and she's fighting off these bandits to protect them, and then she gets kidnapped by the Brotherhood Without Banners. Absolute perfection. Peak. She also has a little bit more room to breathe. She gets more chapters than Victarion or Quentin, so she actually has a character arc happen throughout the series, unlike those other characters with shorter chapters. Theon Greyjoy is going to go into B tier. He is a unique character because he shows up in in the early part, and then he doesn't have a single chapter in Clash of Kings or something. And then he, boom, gets straight into it with Storm of Swords. We see Reek, we're like, oh my goodness. And then he hits the ground running. He has some, I'm moving him up above Barristan now. I'm putting him there because the first half before he becomes Reek, not the best. It's okay. He's got some good stuff, but he's got some bad ones. The second we see him in the Dreadfort, he's been tortured. His change is amazing. I loved seeing his progression. I liked seeing the brokenness of him and how he kind of becomes this empty husk and he's filling himself back up. It's like he's an hourglass and he's shoving sand back into him and he's recontextualizing what it means to be Theon Greyjoy, and he's becoming a better person because of it. The last chapter where he's saving Jane Poole and he's just thinking, if I can just do this one thing, please. He was let me die with a sword in hand. Let me die as Theon Greyjoy, not Reek. Catelyn is going to go into high B tier. Above Bran, her chapters were better than his. The reason why she's in B tier and not A tier is I feel like she has a problem that a lot of female characters have, where she is kind of a viewpoint towards other characters' stories. I feel like George put him in, and she was kind of just the way to learn what Robb is doing instead of Catelyn actually having character agency. A lot of her stuff was just going around and doing stuff for Robb. She was treating with Stannis and Renly because she was doing it for Robb. When she was at River Run and doing all this stuff, it was because of Robb. She was the camera to watch Robb's war campaign happen. Her chapters were peak. Don't deny that. The Red Wedding, absolute perfection. When she's in Stannis' camp, amazing. Perfect. She does have good chapters. It gets cut off a little short, but like I said, she is a camera lens. She doesn't have as much character agency as I would like her to have. I wish that maybe she could have accomplished a little bit more by doing more things. I like her ties to her family and how willing she is to do anything for her family. Sansa also suffers from this lack of character agency I talk about, kind of like with Bran. The story happens to them instead of them shaping the story, in my opinion. She's going into B tier, low B tier, maybe a little bit below Bran. Maybe like Bran and Sansa have very interchangeable points. They kind of flip because some Sansa chapters are amazing. The scene where she's hiding in during the battle, the Battle of King's Landing, when Stannis is like going through and doing everything. That's pretty good. I like seeing her and Cersei kind of do have this Duke of Minds, but she spends a lot of it trapped in King's Landing, and then she spends the next part trapped in the Vale. She doesn't have these moments where she can actually do things herself. She doesn't have this. She doesn't have the agency. She spends all this time trapped and conformed. So it's a lot of just her thinking and emotional moments, which are really good. But I wish that she had a little bit more room to breathe instead of just being trapped, and that fits the story. That should be in the story. I just feel like I would have enjoyed the character a little bit more if she was able to do things on her own instead of doing things in reaction to other characters, if I'm making sense. Arya also is a little bit passive. She spends a lot of her time reacting to things around her. But the difference between her and Sansa is that Arya travels to more places, meets more people, does more things. Sansa's entire story is traveling to King's Landing, staying at King's Landing, going to the Vale. Arya goes to King's Landing, escapes King's Landing, is on the run in the Riverlands, gets taken in by the Brotherhood Without Banners, flees her way to the Salt Pens, I believe, takes a ship all the way to Bravos, and does a ton of stuff with the Faceless Men. She's going in A tier. I loved her character arc. I loved her scenes in the Riverlands. It felt cool. I enjoyed seeing everything, like the chaos and the carnage in the Riverlands. She was our viewpoint to see just how destructive this war was. When she got captured by Gregor's band and she was on her way to Harrenhal, the descriptions of these people. I remember one guy was talking about how like the old king would never stand for this, and the old king being Ares, and then the people someone just killed him. There was a kid who wouldn't stop crying for his mother. They maced him in the face, murdered him. There was a woman who let herself be tortured to spare her kid. Gregor tortured her kid anyways. All of those scenes we witnessed through Arya's point. And while it's not Arya itself that makes a lot of those scenes great, it's the fact that we're seeing this through Arya's lens. I also like Arya's mentality of, she like that one scene where she's thinking about how Ned told her the lone wolf dies but the pack survive, and she's like, but I don't have a pack, I'm all alone. That just the idea of her being alone, her traveling to Bravo, seeing all these new people, the arc itself is just perfection. I don't really have any other words to say. It's good. Daenerys is going to be the first S tier character. What can I say? She starts off a little weak in a Game of Thrones. She lacks that character agency I talk about. She's a slave to Khal Drogo. What more can I say? Her first couple chapters weren't the best, but the ending when the dragons come alive and for the first time in 100 years, the world came alive with the sounds of dragons. Oh my goodness, so good. Her traveling to Meereen and witnessing all this destruction and realizing that she needs to take it up, like it's up to her to take down these oppressive systems that have kept her back, kept all these people back. Her decisions in Astapor and Yunkai and Meereen, doing all this, being a warlord, a conqueror, the mother of dragons, Mista, absolute perfection. Now, Daenerys does suffer from a lack of supporting side characters. She has Barristan Selmy, but he came about in the latter half. In the first half, she has what? Eerie, Rocco, she has her handmaidens, her blood riders, and that's about it for a large portion. She also has Jorah Mormont, but Jorah Mormont, the pedophile from Bear Island, no one cares about that guy. He's an interesting character, but also it's Jorah Mormont. He's not that good of a side character. Anyways, that's my reasons why Daenerys is going to be in S tier. Tyrion is going to be probably the most controversial character on here. You love him or you hate him. It's a real mix. He has some really good chapters and some really boring chapters. He's a Game of Thrones, Storm of Swords, Clash of Kings chapters are amazing. And then he proceeds to spend 30% of Feast for Crows drunk in a ship. The problem is that Tyrion is George's favorite character, so he gets like the youngest child treatment, to where George he feeds him chapters. Tyrion is one of the reasons for the bloat of A Dance with Dragons. He has like 30% of the chapters, and his chapters are like twice the length of everything, because Tyrion is talking and talking and talking. He is a yapper. He never stops yapping. But I'm still saying the Clash of Kings Storm of Swords chapters, where he's scheming in King's Landing and doing all those plans, him allying with the mountain clans of the Vale and everything with Bran, is amazing. But he's not going in S tier because of the downfall he experienced in Feast for Crows and Dance with Dragons. So I'm going to put him in A tier, but high A tier, above Jaime, above Arya, above Brienne. He is a great character. Jon Snow is a character that I think about a lot. I have debated on if I think he's an amazing character, a good character, because his latter half is kind of boring. The introduction's a little slow. He's a very slow-paced character, but he has some hype moments. The great ranging, amazing. Him with Ygritte, amazing. Defending the wall, amazing. Dealing with Stannis, a little bit more slow-paced, but I still really enjoyed his moments with Stannis. And I think maybe a high A tier is deserving of him, but as a teenaged white guy, I have to give him A tier. I'm compelled to, okay? He is literally me, okay? He's a teenage guy. What can I do besides be a Jon stan? It is in my DNA, okay? I am contractually obliged to be a Jon Snow fan. I'm sorry, it's just a part of being a guy reading A Song of Ice and Fire. I must do it. He's an amazing, my feminism in me below Daenerys, okay? Daenerys has better chapters. She has better hype moments. But Jon Snow's Jon Snow, okay? He is literally the second face of A Song of Ice and Fire. He is, in my opinion, the ice. Although George has said that the ice is the others, but Jon Snow is a part of the others, okay? He's the second part. It's Daenerys and Jon Snow. Those are the two faces of the series. People have been like, oh, what about Tyrion? Tyrion can suck it, okay? He's not that good. Cersei is Cersei. People, in my opinion, I think the way that people talk about Cersei is a little bit misogynistic. I have seen Reddit threads where people will call Cersei like a crazy paranoid bitch, and I'm like, okay, that's a little extreme. And then people are like, Cersei's such a stupid, dumb idiot. She's absolutely insane and paranoid. I think the way that people talk about Cersei is a little degrading, because I like Cersei. Like, not like morally, I think her chapters are really good. She's got good chapters. It's good to get inside her head, although George didn't really have to. Maybe keeping her like a masked villain is something that would have been good, but he likes writing the Lannisters. Like Tyrion and Jaime, so I guess Cersei had to have one. But it might have been nice to keep her as this non-POV villain, because she was the villain for the first part of the series. But it is nice to see that this schemer is just someone who's paranoid and worried about her children. Now, worried about her children is a bit of a stretch. She's probably more worried about how her children reflect upon her, because she's a little bit of a narcissist. But she's got really good chapters. I enjoyed her talking about the Tyrells for the 3,000th time. So she's going in low A tier, maybe a little bit below Brienne, but still really good. Davos Seaworth is literally me. He's the guy that doesn't really care about everything that's going on. He just wants to get back home to his wife, but his best friend needs him, so he's got to stick around for a little bit longer. He's going in middle B tier, above Theon, above Barristan, above Jon Connington. His first chapter, people say that's a little slow. I liked it. I liked him in White Harbor. I liked him making the plea to Wyman. In Davos' chapter, we got to hear Wyman Manderly's speech about the Mummers farce being over. His son is home. He can now, do all the secret scheming with the Starks. I liked him thinking about Stannis. I liked him as a character. His chapters are still really good, in my opinion. That's why he's B tier. Samwell Tarly has some pretty good chapters. He's also got some boring ones. Not everyone wants to hear about his fat pink mast. And also his chapters on the sea. Yeah, we get it. You're seasick, dude. High C tier. I don't really want to talk about you that much. This is going to be a long video. Ariel Hota. You're the camera that rides. High D tier. Out of respect, because the plot in Dorne is a little bit underrated. You're just really boring, dude. Ned Stark, the quiet wolf of Winterfell, high A tier. I feel like everyone can understand that. Below Arya, because his chapters got cut short, but still really good. I like him because he is the face of the first book, For the first book, I bet when you were reading it, you thought Ned was going to be the main character, and then he got his head cut off, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? You're like, oh my goodness, Ned just died. What's going on? Insane. You have no clue what is happening. You were like in shock. I was in shock. Everyone thought that Ned was the main character. We can just agree on that. But then he's not the main character. I loved his scheming. Not scheming. I loved him trying to uncover what was going on with the Lannisters and the Arryns and the king. And then Robert dies and he's trying to uncover this mystery. Because the first book is different than all the other ones. Because it's like a murder mystery. Because Ned is figuring this out. Catelyn is trying to figure this out. Jon's up in the north doing who knows what. Now it is just down to the last two characters, and they are both going to be easy to rank. Ares Oakheart, I originally didn't like your chapters. I thought they were forgettable, but on my reread, I liked you, okay? You are me, or you are a version of me. You're a version of every guy, okay? You go down south, you find a really hot girl. You're like, maybe the Kingsguard isn't worth it. And then you die. Out of respect for you being able to court Arion, although it was the other way around, she courted you, she kind of manipulated you, but who wouldn't want to get manipulated by a hot Dornish woman, okay? I think I'm saying what everyone is thinking. C tier out of respect for that. Aeron Damphair, Aeron Greyjoy, the Drowned God's priest, you get the lowest of C tier. I would put you in D tier, but I like you, okay? I made a TikTok talking about how you got abused by Euron. You're a great foil against Euron. I feel bad for you. Your childhood trauma is valid. Please get therapy and seek help. But other than that, you're a little boring, okay? Your chapter was like, okay, a little. I didn't need to see you walk around all of the Iron Islands. That wasn't that interesting. That is going to be all of the POV characters ranked in this tier list. I know all of you are going to agree with these rankings because they are objective and true. This is just fact. I'm sorry for speedrunning the last couple characters, but I feel like they were really easy rankings. Some of these were pretty hard, like Catelyn and Bran and Sansa, because they could get to A tier, but also they could. I feel B tier is a good tier. This is going to be a real, like, when you look at the bell curve, this is a really normal bell curve. You have a couple in S tier, a couple in A tier. The most is in B tier. Like, this is a really good bell curve when you think about it. Maybe a little bit biased towards the bottom. But still, you have an even amount in A and C tier, so I am an objective fact. I don't overwhelmingly love characters, and I don't overwhelmingly hate characters. I think this is a very valid list. If you disagree with me, you're weird. Leave a comment down below. Like and subscribe. Make sure to touch that comment section. See ya.